Yechi, adonainu, morainu, vaed, Melech, hamoshiach, vaed. Welcome to the summary of Dvar Malchus and Beis, Siman Gimel. Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit starts off with the Rambam in the laws of Moshiach, chapter 12. Someone should not think that in the days of Moshiach, Yibatul Davar or the custom of the world will be nullified, or the world will change. Rather, the world will continue going on. Will continue behaving as regular. Even though it says in Yeshayahu that in times of Mashiach, a lamb and a sheep will live together, that a lamb and a wolf will live together. It's an example. It's the example the Jewish people will be in the living together with the non-Jews. However, in general, the times of Mashiach, everything continues regular. That's the Rambam writes. However, in Tora's Kainim, the Medrash writes, and the pasuk, period, that the fruits of the tree will give, the trees of the field will give fruit. That even trees that did not give fruit, usually at time of Moshiach they will change. And so says the Gemara. The Gemara says in the end of Masech that all trees in Eretz Yisrael will give fruit. So there's a question: how could the Rambam say that everything will be natural? Similarly, the Gemara and the Medrash bring down that in Eretz Yisrael and the world, for trees that do not give fruit will give fruit. So the Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit says that maybe you could say it's an example. Even the Rambam will say that even the Gemara is talking an example that maybe trees don't give fruit are people that are Iyar and not Chamim, and the example and the times of Moshiach will give fruit. However, the Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit says that you can't really say so, and the reason is because it's very, very rare to find that the Gemara and the Medrash speak spiritual sense. However, the Nevi'im, it's more common. And also, the Gemara and the Medrash are speaking. We see it's talking about a physical sense, not spiritually. So, rather, what the Radbaz writes that even though it's true that it's only an example, and generally the world will continue behaving in natural form, nevertheless, in Eretz Yisrael there will be miracles, and that fits the Gemara. The Gemara says that only Lo Nisrak, all in Eretz Yisrael there will be miracles. And we could say that's the Rambam holds. Rambam holds that really in the whole world the world will be the same. In Eretz Yisrael there will be miracles, just like the Gemara says Eretz Yisrael. However, the Medrash, it's like not is arguing and saying no that in everywhere there will be miracles. However, the Melech and Moshiach says we can't explain so the Rambam for two reasons. First of all, the Rambam writes that the world will stay natural includes Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael will also stay natural. There will be no unique miracles in Eretz Yisrael. And it's more so, the Rambam brings a proof from Ben Kaziva, that in Ben Kaziva, Rebbe Kiva said he was Moshiach, and they not in his time there's no miracles. And we don't find in Ben Kaziva there's miracles in Eretz Yisrael. So the Rebbe Melech and Moshiach says that we could say, according to what it says in Avedis HaKodesh, that in times of Moshiach, there will be no new things in the world. Rather what? Everything will go back to the way it was before the Chedet Adas, beginning of creation of the world, when there's all these miracles that happen. And therefore, we could say that even though the Rambam writes that the world will be new things in the world, why will there be no new things in the world? Because this idea of old trees bring fruit already happened. When did it happen? Beginning of creation. And rather what? There's two opinions. According to the Rambam, the beginning of creation, there was miracles with the growth of fruit, and therefore that there will be new fruits, a lot of fruits, and they'll eat the trees in times of Mashiach is not a new thing. However, those that say that the world will change in times of Mashiach, like the Gemara, Right? The Gemara is speaking, according to the opinion, at the beginning of creation, in the times of other Mauritian, there was no miracles. And therefore, the times of Moshiach, the miracles of a lot of all trees having fruit, etc., is a new thing. However, the Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit says we can't really say, and learn the Rambam means that there actually will be miracles, just it's not considered a miracle because it already happened. So, why? First of all, because in the Medrash, Torah's Kainim, it says a bunch of things that happen just like other Mauritian. However, over here, when he says about old fruit, old trees giving fruit, he does not say it was like other Mauritian. More than that, according to the opinion that at the beginning of creation, the trees gave fruit, it was against what Hashem wanted. It means naturally the world shouldn't give fruit. Now, it's more so, when the Rambam says the world won't change, what is the behavior of the world? Behavior of the world means where the world is behaving. We can't say that the world really, trees naturally, all trees give fruit, and just for thousands of years they didn't. No, if the thousands of years they don't give fruit, then the nature is, the custom of the world is that some trees don't give fruit. So the original question goes back: how could Rambam say that nothing in the world will change? And lo chiddush ma'aser bereishis, and the world continues going on regular in times of Mashiach. If it says in the Gemara until Teres Kainim that all trees, even trees that in times of Golus, do not give fruit or give fruit. So Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit first asks the question regarding the Rambam. Rambam writes the Rambam writes that there's no difference between time of Golus and times of Mashiach. That will continue going. On the other hand, Rambam writes that all the Nevi'im, what are they speaking about? All the Nevi'im that gave prophecies regarding Mashiach are talking about Yemei Mashiach. So if it's talking about Yemei Mashiach, then if it's talking about Yemei Mashiach, it means how can it be at the same time talking about Yemei Mashiach? And also the Rambam will say the world won't change. If the world is changed, if the prophecies are talking about Yemei Mashiach, that means the world is changing. How can the Rambam contradict himself? And also the Rambam writes that one is not allowed to carry on Shabbos weapons. Why? Because weapons that someone is carrying, sword and etc., they're not considered garments. Why are they not considered garments? Because in the times of Mashiach they'll be nullified. And the Rambam writes Paskin's Zelacha so that you're not allowed to go out with weapons on Shabbos because carrying it's not a garment. So how can the Rambam contradict himself also over here? On one hand, the Rambam writes, times of Mashiach, the world stays regular. On the other hand, the Rambam writes that you're not allowed to go out outside with, not allowed to carry weapons because they're not garments, because they're not nullified. So the Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit first brings that the Rambam has a unique opinion. Rambam's opinion is that Olam Haba, when we say Olam Haba, like the second stage of Mashiach, it's only neshamis, only souls. There's no group, no bodies over there. So if the Rambam holds that Olam Haba is only souls, when will be Tchias HaMesim? That we can't say Tchias HaMesim is in the Mashiach. Why Mashiach? The Rambam says that nothing will change. So how does the Rambam say nothing will change? When will be Tchias HaMesim? We must say that the Rambam holds there are two stages in the Mashiach itself. There is a beginning of Mashiach's coming. Mashiach comes in the beginning, everything is natural. Later on, in the Mashiach itself, there will time will be miracles, and that time will be Tchias HaMesim. And that's why, and that's why the Rambam doesn't prove anywhere in Perek Beis when he speaks about how the world will be in the Mashiach that nothing will change. Why does the Rambam prove that the world will stay natural? Because he already proved it that Mashiach doesn't have to do any miracles. And because of the King Moshiach himself doesn't have to do miracles, then the coming of Mashiach to the world also doesn't have to bring miracles. And the same way he proved why, because Mashiach has come to the world, it's one thing. And because the Rambam already proved in the first in Perek Yud Aleph that Mashiach doesn't have to do miracles, therefore it doesn't have to prove that in Mashiach's times won't have to be miracles. And according to this, I'll explain what the Rambam's opinion is. Rambam's opinion is that all the prophecies are talking about the coming of Mashiach himself must be. That will actually happen. Just what? If they're breaking nature, we must explain them spiritually, because in Mashiach's time it has nothing to do with miracles. Mashiach's time is bringing back altered mitzvahs. However, our voice, prophecies that speak about in the general things of Mashiach, they will happen just in a later time. They'll happen just in a later times of Mashiach. And according to this, I also explain the difference between the Gemara and the Teres Kainim. Gemara is saying that in Eretz Yisrael there will be miracles. Why? Because according to that opinion, the Gemara is taking already in the beginning of Yechi Mashiach, there will be miracles. The Teres Kainim argues with the Gemara and says that no, that in the whole world there will be miracles. Not only Eretz Yisrael, in the whole world, all trees will give fruit. And however, that will be in a later time of Yechi Mashiach. And therefore, and the Rambam holds that opinion. This is also understood why the Rambam also says that weapons will be nullified in Mashiach's comes. And therefore, you're not allowed to carry it on Shabbos because it's not considered a garment, something that's not nice to wear. It's something that will be nullified. Mashiach will remove it. Because even though in the beginning of Mashiach's times, the world continues going on regular, but in the set later time of Mashiach, it will be nullified. According to this, we'll also explain that the Rambam or Paskins that Bali Tshuva are greater than Tzaddikim. Because right after the Rambam writes, the Gemara writes that all the prophecies, all the prophets prophesied to Moshiach Mashiach. The Gemara also writes that all the prophets prophesied regarding to Tzaddikim. However, the Rambam doesn't hold that all the prophets prophesied to Tzaddikim. The Rambam holds that Bali Tshuva are higher than Tzaddikim. And why? Why? Because the Rambam holds that Bali Tshuva are higher than Tzaddikim. Similarly, just like the Rambam holds that all the Nevi'im are speaking about Moshiach Mashiach, the Rambam must also hold that all the Nevi'im are speaking about Tzaddikim. Why? Because this is the Rambam holds that all the Nevi'im only gave a nevuah regarding Mashiach, only regarding the later stage of Mashiach. The later stage of Mashiach, over there, the Nevi'im are talking about. However, the beginning part of Mashiach, no. The beginning part of Mashiach is natural. And therefore, the Rambam also doesn't take that all the Nevi'im are about Tzaddikim, because there's a Ma'ilin Bali Tshuva. The Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit says, but if so, if the whole completion of Mashiach coming and bringing back all Torah mitzvahs in the beginning of Mashiach, why should there be a second stage of miracles? What's the point of it? So I'll explain this first. That the Rambam brings in the Geras Tchesa that even though the Rambam writes in Hilchos Mashiach that the world will continue going on naturally, nevertheless, there could be miracles. There will be miracles. It means it's not 100%. Not 100% there won't be miracles. And we explain this based on this. The Gemara brings that there's two ways Mashiach could come. If the Yidden are meriting Mashiach's coming, Mashiach will come on the clouds. If Mashiach, the Jewish people are not meriting, there's no Leizachu, Mashiach will come more natural. Mashiach will come on a donkey. And more than this, this is the Rambam is writing the laws of Mashiach in a natural way. In other words, that there won't be miracles is not because Rambam is saying so will be. Rather, it's not part of the main thing of Mashiach. The main thing of Mashiach and Mashiach is all about Torah mitzvahs. And for that, there does not have to be miracles. So the Rambam don't think, don't think there'll be miracles. However, there'll be other miracles. Just like going to the Beis Hamikdash. The Rambam writes, the Mashiach has to build the Beis Hamikdash. On the other hand, it says that in Rashi and Tosfos, the Beis Hamikdash comes down from heaven. Why? Because you have to build the Beis Hamikdash. That's the halacha. It could be the more additional things and be a spiritual Beis Hamikdash come down from above. However, the main thing is down here. And the Rebbe Melech and Moshiach Shlit says, why do you must say there will be a second stage? Because even if in the beginning of Mashiach, the Yidden are not meriting, and Mashiach is more natural, however, after that Mashiach comes, in the natural order, and all things that are disturbed, Torah mitzvahs are removed, so the Yidden start learning Torah, and the Yidden start keeping mitzvahs. So eventually they'll merit, and once they're meriting, all the miracles will happen. However, the Rambam writes in the Geras Tchesa that Not only that, it could be that not only will there be miracles in the second stage of Mashiach, but it could be already in the beginning of Mashiach. If he is not meriting, we'll already have the idea of miracles. And the miracles, like it says, adonainu Yechi adonainu, morainu Melech, hamoshiach,